Hello, people. Miss 5250 here. Crazy for justice. Alright, this is ChiefDar.com. I strongly feel the need to share this website because I know that Jerry Dyer is not happy with this website. And because the people in Fresno, they know all about John Lang. But everyone has seemed to have forgotten about Lieutenant Jose Morales, who died the 28th of November, 2004. I would like to organize some kind of a memorial on that date all over Fresno, not just at City Hall, not just at Shaw and Blackstone. Go to whatever corner is closest to you, whatever intersection, and have your sign, or maybe we'll have a color or something. But I was convinced that because Jerry Dyer, the Teflon tyrant, was running for mayor, that this case would get some attention, that it would be possibly be reopened. There have been people that have come forward since. Says, is Chief Dyer being slandered or defamed here? Why would sworn law enforcement and city personnel say that Joe's body was in Jerry's lawn, surrounded by Fresno police officers, when the official story was that he was found dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the chest, 100 feet away from Jerry's house on the side of the road outside of his truck, laying face down with a gun at his left side when he was right-handed? This sharply contradicts what the Fresno County Sheriff has tried to perpetrate to the public since 2004, and it goes without saying that federal investigation is definitely warranted. But that has not happened. Oh, there was a federal grand jury, but they were just disbanded for some reason that the public does not get to know about. To further cloud the issue here, make the official Fresno County Sheriff version even more unbelievable, it was an anonymous motorist from L.A. who originally found him in the dark of the night in a rural area, there calling 911 and reporting these circumstances in fine detail as if they knew the area very well. They quickly and clearly described a man laying dead, nearly a perfect description of his Chevy truck. Why was this anonymous person, supposedly from L.A., on then a dead-end Sunnyside Road, which I thought it was American, but I guess it's right off of American, where there are no lights on a cold winter night? And let me remind you, this was Thanksgiving weekend, people. Sheriff Dyer's home at the time of the incident is third from the left. All of these are pictures that have not propagated yet. I will scroll back up here, and hopefully they will have popped back up. But please go to this website and do some screenshots yourself, because I know damn well that eventually Jerry Dyer will probably get this taken down. Like he got the two police surveys taken down. The two surveys that was done by Cato Institute, which I think is, it's either a left or right leaning. And then they got another one done by a place in L.A. called Johnson Institute of Integrity or something to that effect, out of L.A. And both of them recommended new leadership. Both of them were only participated in by a third of the, or no more than half at least, of the Fresno Police Department and staff, sworn officers and civilian staff. And some of the comments are just just unbelievable. They're begging for new leadership, and we're ignoring them. They're being ignored. So, this interesting was also how nobody, not even Chief Jerry Dyer or his family, even heard a gunshot from a few feet away in the dead of a cold night when sounds are heard more clearly. What is ultra incriminating against the Fresno County Sheriff and Coroner, entirely absent in their report, is the fact that dead men don't make phone calls. Lieutenant Jose Morales made phone calls from his personal cell phone at the time he would have been dead, according to the coroner and the sheriff's department. He calls his voicemail at a time that would have been absolutely impossible. What about the gun? Now let's talk about the gun. What about Jose Morales' personal 40 caliber Glock handgun that he was allegedly to have killed himself with? It was given back to his widow, and in all Fresno County Sheriff's Department police reports, is identified by serial number. But when the gun was rammed by CHP in a vehicle stop a few years later, that gun came back to the officer as no records found, not registered to Fresno Police Lieutenant Jose Morales. How can that be? Clearly based on information and belief, because no one can flat out accuse the man. The gun that Jose Morales was alleged to have used to kill himself was not his own gun, and it was planted, and it was a .22. GSR tests were performed on Jose Morales by Fresno County Coroner, and no gunshot residue was found. If Jose Morales shot himself with his .22 gun in the chest, effectively committing suicide as alleged, gunshot residue would have been found on his hands. Federal crimes committed by Fresno Police Department, Fresno County Sheriff, and Fresno County Coroner, kind of like the same way all of them were involved in the John Lang deal. Not only did the foregoing events take place and were not documented by the Sheriff's Department, but Jose's personal locker at Fresno Police Department was broken into by police personnel. Had to be, right? And items stolen. His Skelly hearing paperwork was in there, among other things. Additionally, as Mortuary called his widow, okaying her to come and pick up his personal belongings, cops got there before she did and took the belongings under the guise of official business. Why? Bogus autopsy and coroner's investigation squarely focused on the suicide. Liver temp was not performed. Gunshot residue was not performed. Necessary to rule out her suicide or murder. Oh, and then it's corrected on 11/12. 11/12? 17! Oh my God! 17! That's 13 years after he died. Oh my God. I haven't read this in so long. The time of Jose's alleged suicide and the time at which rigor mortis is claimed to have set in cannot be true, given the fact that Jose made phone calls just before midnight. Jose was documented in the autopsy as being circumcised. He was not when he was not. I think his wife would know if her husband was circumcised or not. Times were changed no less than 3 different pages of the report, and sheriff personnel would admit to reports being ordered to be changed. This information, as well as the gathering at Jerry's home and before the command center was created, is entirely absent in all official police and coroner's reports relating to Jose's death. As is, obviously my bullshit is not anywhere near as serious as this, but they're pulling the same kind of tricks. The pertinent facts are absent from official police reports relating to the incident. So that's the similarity. And also the similarity with John Lang. Jerry Dyer's false alibi. Where was Jerry? Where the hell was Jerry? And let's just throw Derek Carr under the bus right fucking now. Because I have a hashtag, how's Jerry? Whatever teams are the Raiders' rival, and I think it's the Packers, you guys should be chanting at every fucking Raiders game, how's Jerry, Derek? How's Jerry? How much Jerry pay you, Derek? How much Jerry pay you? Those are my hashtags. Okay, moving on. Because that was 1.58%. That damn Jerry Dyer, Derek Carr commercial, that was a Hail Mary at the, right before the damn buzzer to the March primary election. 1.58%, Derek. And I think this right here story, if this would have been put in front of the public, this would have easily killed that 1.58%. You didn't win, Jerry, because you didn't have the balls, your shriveled up, steroid shriveled balls, to run on the November ballot. That's what I say. Oh, you're allegedly steroid shriveled balls. Alright, let's move on. In early August. Oh, wait. Back up. Fresno Police Chief Jerry Dyer would claim to have been at a local restaurant the night of Jose Morales' death until 9 p.m. or so. Excuse me. And then came home, but the local restaurant owner and employees could not corroborate his alibi of having been there. They said he wasn't. In early August, a Fresno County Sheriff Sergeant, who was a deputy and one of the first responders the night of Jose's death, so he claims in that fashion, would reveal by his statement to this writer and to Jose's family that Chief Jerry Dyer was not at home, as he claimed in official reports, but rather drove up to the suicide scene, which was well after midnight, after having left his office, presumably. So here we got several different stories. Now, this now sergeant tripped up and effectively threw Chief Dyer under the bus, exposing him by corroborating the fact that Chief Dyer was not in fact inside his home innocently when Jose allegedly fired the lone shot into his chest from across the street, as Jerry Dyer himself claims. Clearly based on information and belief, Jerry Dyer, as part of the charade, must have driven his car across the street for his deputy, now sergeant, to have truthfully witnessed what he claimed to have witnessed. Where was Dyer? At home? Asleep with his family, never hearing a gunshot? Or was he in the front lawn covered in Jose's blood, only to later make it seem as though he drove up, to which this now sergeant would claim to say to him, "Hi, Chief." I'm trying to get these pictures. I don't know why these pictures aren't coming up. Let's see if the ones came up from earlier. No, they still have not. But these basically show the street. You know, this dead-end street, American Avenue, a street sign. The front of Jerry's house. I didn't read every bit of this right here, but it was last updated on November 2nd, 2017. I believe this is the noose picture with Jerry Dyer standing there holding the noose with his former police chief or some fucking dirty cop, dirty Fresno thug. All right, let's see, where are we? Investigation conducted, professional personal blackmail. Where were we? Okay, was Jerry Dyer at home, or was he on the front lawn covered in Jose's blood? Corrected. The investigation was not conducted by current Fresno County Sheriff Margaret Mims, as previously written here, but at the time of Joe's death, Margaret Mims was with the department, and based upon information and belief, she is well aware of the competing circumstances. Professional and personal blackmail against Chief Jerry Dyer. Based on information and belief, and it says that, I don't know, about 50 times on this webpage, it is a well-known fact or personally held belief within the Fresno Police Department and the Sheriff's Department that Lieutenant Jose Morales did not commit suicide. I repeat, it is a well-known fact or personally held belief within the Fresno Police Department and Fresno Sheriff's Department that Lieutenant Jose Morales did not, in fact, commit suicide. And not just a personally held belief or popular conspiracy theory, in fact, it is said to be well known that Fresno County Sheriff Margaret Mims is in possession of, and has been in possession of, documents, a letter that directly implicates Chief Jerry Dyer in Jose Morales' murder, and has been used against Chief Dyer for political blackmail purposes, such as when Jerry was ambitious or had ambitions of running for sheriff, or consolidating the two departments, basically to keep him in check. As according to sources, Mims cannot stand Jerry Dyer, and even once threw him out of her office. I do not recall reading that. Okay, now, investigation conducted by ex-Fresno Sheriff Deputy. Yolanda Morales, Jose's widow, as previously mentioned, was herself a barely retired Fresno police detective whose stellar career was featured in a book about Hispanic women and who have broken the glass ceiling, entitled, let me start over. Yolanda Morales, Jose's widow, as previously mentioned, was herself a barely retired Fresno police detective whose stellar career was featured in a book about Hispanic women who have broken the glass ceiling, entitled Mariposa. That means butterfly for all you non-bilingual. I'm semi-bilingual. I am not fluently bilingual. So Yolanda worked homicide and major drug buys, along with CCAT and CVSU. Don't ask me, I don't know. She knew Jerry Dyer well, and emphatically believes / knows that Jerry Dyer murdered her husband, Lieutenant Jose Morales, and a cover-up by the Fresno County Sheriff and Coroner's Office ensued. And let me just interject here that I too believe this. But what I believe is that Morales was shot accidentally. I don't want to believe that it was cold-blooded murder. What I want to believe, it was an accident, and they panicked, and they were stupid, and they caused a whole lot of grief and a whole lot of heartache for a whole lot of people. And Jerry Dyer is still doing it. Because I also solemnly fucking believe that if Jerry Dyer did not currently have more fucking power than he did for the 20 years he was a police officer, and then got more power as a police chief, and now has even more power as the fucking mayor. And no, Jerry, it wasn't God talking to you, that wanting you to be mayor. It was the fucking devil. It was Satan himself. And I believe I have plenty of people that would agree with that. Okay, not only did Yolanda conduct her own investigation into this matter, Now here, Yolanda and I have something in common because I also conducted my own investigation. And my investigation is being ignored just like Yolanda Morales. So they'll do the same thing as for a accidental death, a alleged suicide, or a minor trespass. The reaction is the same. Cover it up. So, not only did she conduct her own investigation, where she's a trained investigator and I'm not, but a former Fresno County Sheriff investigator deputy, now a highly regarded and successful private investigator, did as well. And the findings are astonishing, revealing that Fresno Police Lieutenant Jose Morales could not possibly have committed suicide as they claimed by the Fresno County Sheriff, Coroner, and Police Department, and that the Fresno Coroner's investigation is flawed to the point of utter corruption. Hashtag corrupt as fuck, corrupt AF, hashtag notoriously corrupt. You will find me. Deliberate indifference of the city and county of Fresno toward... I'm not going to read all this because we're at 21 minutes. I'm going to slowly scroll. I'm going to keep encouraging you people. Okay, yeah, they used to be neighbors, lived across the street from each other, their kids to know each other. How's that? How's that for a little tidbit? I'm slow enough that you people are going to have to, either go and read it for yourself, or, slow this down and pause it. You could do this, Joe had also committed adultery. He wasn't a perfect man. But neither is Jerry Dyer. Neither am I, neither are you. Why was the 911 caller's phone immediately disconnected? And why was that person never identified or interviewed? Now, I was under the impression, and I have posted, that it was a burner phone. But apparently it belonged to someone, and it wasn't just I thought it was like a brand new number burner phone. But apparently this person has had, this phone number for a while, and apparently turned it off, probably was getting harassed by sworn police officers, sworn to uphold the Constitution. We're probably threatening that man, which is why he got a new phone number. I don't know. Or why he shut his phone off. But somewhere in here, the Fresno County taxpayers paid to keep all those phone calls away from the widow and the family. The phone calls that were supposedly made after his death. It is widely believed that Fresno Police Chief Jerry Dyer has created and leads a culture of gang-style murder and corruption within his department that has resulted in an inordinate and unjust number of killings by his officers and a multitude of federal crimes, including but not limited to drug dealing and murders. The Fresno mayors and city government appears to have endorsed this criminal culture, continuing to support this accused murderer and rapist, extending his reign of scandal and controversy for more than 17 years now. Fresno animal lovers. Now this is where I got the cat story. Dead cat strategy, people, and hashtag dead cat strategy, hashtag dead cat. Jerry Dyer actually killed a cat. The dead cat strategy is to distract your opponents, distract your enemies from the topic by giving them a horrible, something else to focus on, like a dead cat. You don't think that why was this story not going all around the political campaign trail? Why wasn't this posted everywhere on campaign posters? Come on, Democrats, what the fuck is wrong with you? Donkey's asses. That's what I guess you are. If you didn't try to use this juicy dirt, which is not dirt, is like rumors. This, I'm pretty sure this could be proven. So, that is one side of her website. I believe this website is set up by a relative of Jose Morales. I do not know for sure, but I am going to quickly show what is on all the rest of this. Maybe one day I'll do a separate one only on josemorales.com. I believe I have contacted this person on Twitter, but this is the other side of the web page. Obviously, the FBI has been Twitter-fied right there. Okay, Jerry Dyer is despised as a pedophile and statutory rapist in Fresno. That's an article. Here's another. Fresno Police Chief Jerry Dyer accused of statutory rape. Jerry Dyer's deputy chief convicted, felon drug dealer. Fresno Police Department corruption, murder allegations. Jerry Dyer, chief of Fresno Police, California. Fresno hates Jerry Dyer and calls for his firing. Contact the FBI, request an investigation into Jose Morales' death. And let's see how many hang up on you. Let's see how many hang up on you. And if you get hung up on by the Fresno FBI, please contact San Joaquin Valley Transparency with your story of how you got hung up on by the FBI, because San Joaquin Valley Transparency was talking to Chile de Castro about this very, very same subject. He was talking to Direct D about this very same subject. Alright, I'm almost done here. Write the sheriff, request an investigation. Yes, please do this, people. Please do this. Callie Tito, actor Amanda, Disorderly Product News, Lackluster, The Audit, Tulare County Cop Watch, News Now California, Amagassett Press, Watching the Watchmen, Katie Kidman, The Homegrown Granny. I know I'm leaving people out. There's so many great auditors. Bullyback audits, pepperoni audits, gorilla audits. You people, please put this address, put this on your people's radar, on your subs' radar. This is the police department of John Lang. John Lang, everybody knows who John Lang is. How come Fresno Police Department is still getting away with their shit? Why? Why is this happening, people? We have to end it. We have to end it now. I have put out one way that they are tampering with evidence. I have put how they are trying to get your vehicle away from you. How I have put out how they are making you a mental patient in order to discredit you and make you more likely to be 25% more likely to be shot dead by FPD. That's a hashtag too. Shot dead by FPD, shot dead by CIT. That's the Crisis Intervention Team. This lawyer, the lawyer that helped Des Martinez, that helped her, he couldn't help Yolanda Morales because I believe he was threatened. You guys can read about that. But please, someone else preserve this website, because this person has done a lot of work, connected a lot of dots, and when this is gone, well, at least there will be my video. At least there will be this video. Please, someone screenshot this, download this. Make sure that this website never goes away. That it never goes away. And ask for the Fresno Police Department employee surveys that were conducted in 2015 that both recommend Jerry Dyer be fired. And they recommend new leadership for the Fresno Police Department, and the officers that were brave enough to take the survey were begging for new leadership. So the next time somebody gets fucking shot in Fresno, all of you Republicans, all you GOP that wanted Jerry Dyer up there, it's on your head too. Whoever gets shot dead, unarmed next, is on your head. If you don't do something about this, if you don't share this video, if you don't make calls to the DA's office, if you don't make calls to Jerry Dyer's office, you're fucking pussies. That's what you are.